Alright, so this video is going to go over the written practice quiz. This will be almost exactly like what your graded quiz question and test question will look like. They'll be different, but can you write it out by hand and set up the class header and create the variables, create a method, assign the variables to information, and then just display them to the screen. So let me open up just a notepad because I'm going to just read it from here. I'm not going to do it in NetBeans because with these we're just writing out a class. We're not writing out the main and the class. So let me find a notepad real quick. And again, I apologize for my computer being slow. Notepad. Let's get this opened. Okay, let's see what this says. This says create a class called footballplayer. So in order to create that, and you can go back to your skeleton for this, but you should kind of start knowing how to do this by now. So it would say public class football player. Okay. Create a method called display player info. So public void display player info. Okay, so this right here would earn you some points because you've shown me the ability to create the class header and the method header. Okay, it says define the following variables: player name, player number, average yards per carry, is Pro Bowler, and is injured. Hint: define is Pro Bowler as a boolean and is injured as a char. Y for yes, N for no. Okay, so we define our variables above our methods in our classes. So you have to show me the ability that you're going to create a string player name, and player name would be a string. A player number, none of the players running around on the field are like 11.5, so you would have to show me the ability to put an int there, int player number. Yards, anytime you do an average, yards per carry, that's going to be a double. So averages are always double. So I would just call it average yards per carry. It's kind of a long definition, but that's fine. Is Pro Bowler, so it says to define is Pro Bowler as a boolean. Is Pro Bowler. And char is injured. Okay, so I've got all my variables that I've defined properly. Now I just got to assign them information. So it says you should understand how to define the rest of the variables. Demonstrate that you know how to assign proper data to each variable and display the variables in an output message in the display play. Okay, so we're going to display information to these now. So we'll say player name, and that would equal who are the players now that I know? I don't remember. I'm just going to use old players. So I'll say John Elway, and his player number was equal to 7. His average yards per carry, I'm just making this stuff up, let's say 8.5, and is Pro Bowler equals true, and is injured would equal N. Okay, so when you're doing a boolean, it's either true or false here. Don't get it confused with the char. Chars are single characters inside single quotes. Okay, so I'll do an uppercase N. So you don't use double quotes here, and you don't just say is injured equals to n. You have to put a single quote around it, all right? Or I could take off some points there for that. So now it's just displaying the information, which you should be good at doing by now. So system.out.println, and we could say player name plus player name. We could say, what could we say? Player number. Could say average yards per carry. AV. This needs to be AVG. AVG yards per carry. And then bowler. And then we say is pro bowler. And then system.out.println. That's the last one. Is injured. And that would be is injured. Okay. So again, we've got the header of our class and the header of our method. We define our variables here. We assign our variables here. And we display our variable and information here. And so if you can write this out by hand, you know, it's 100% for you. So it should be an easy A, just as long as you're doing your work and practicing this. So this video is done.